Okay, we're going to add rational expressions with linear denominators that do not have common factors, and these are advanced problems, so they do get quite detailed. What you want to do is you want to always make sure your answer is in simplest form, and we'll talk about that in a few moments. But anytime you have a binomial, which most of these are made up of binomials, you're going to start out by putting them in parentheses because you can never split up a binomial unless it can be factored first. So I'll just go ahead and put these in parentheses. Now, I'm going to multiply the bottom, cross multiply the top. But your simplified answer has to be factored out. So when I quote unquote multiply the bottom, I'm just going to write down what the denominator is, like this. Leave it in parentheses because your final answer has to have binomials. Okay, now I'm going to cross multiply the top. So that works like this. X plus 6 times x minus 4. Then you got a plus sign. Then you go the other way. X plus 2 times x minus 9. Okay, now what I want to do is just, you're always keeping the denominator like it is. And I'm thinking I'm going to not have enough room for this problem. X minus 9 and x minus 4 in the denominator. The numerator, go ahead and multiply these out because you're going to have to combine like terms in a moment. So x times x is x squared. To get that middle term, you take these two numbers and put them together. So 6 take away 4 is a positive 2, and then put your x with that. And to get the final term, just multiply. 6 times negative 4 is negative 24. Then we got a plus sign, and we're going to do the same for these. So x times x is x squared. Add these together. 2 minus 9 is negative 7. Got my x. And then multiply them. 2 times negative 9 is negative 18. So your denominator, like I said, is going to stay like it was. Okay, in the numerator, x squared plus x squared is 2x squared. 2x minus 7x is a negative 5x. Negative 24 and then negative 18 is a negative 42. Now you want to see, try to make myself some room here. You want to see if you can factor the top. I'm actually going to see, because I have a number in front of my squared term, I'm going to use the AC method for factoring, and I'm really going to run out of room for this, so I'm going to come out here off to the side and factor it. So what you do for the AC method of factoring, I'm factoring the numerator. I'm sorry, that should be a minus 42, not an equal 42. You take the first and the last number, and like I said, this is the AC method of factoring, and you multiply them. 2 times 42 equals 84. And then you work backwards to get the middle term. So here's what I mean by working backwards. We want the factors of 42 that when we subtract them equal 5. So 84 divided by 1 is 84. 84 divided by 2 is 42. I'm just getting all the factors here. Sorry. 84 divided by 3 is 28. 84 divided by 4 is 21. 5 doesn't work. 84 divided by 6 is 14. 84 divided by 7 is 12. And I can actually stop there because 12 take away 7 is 5. And that's what we wanted here. So once you find the right combination, you copy down the first term and the sign after it. 2x squared minus these biggest factors, the biggest one has to come first, so 12x. Okay, I want a negative 12x, but I have a negative 5x, so that 7x has to be positive because those two have to add up to the middle number, and then bring down that last term, negative 42. Now I'm going to put parentheses just around the first two terms. I can factor a 2x out of that, So that leaves me with x minus 6. Bring down the sign after your parentheses, and don't make parentheses around these, just see what you can divide them by. 7 and 42, I can divide those by 7. So your factored form is x minus 6, and then these two things have to go together. So times 2x plus 7. That's how you factor using the AC method. So I've got x minus 6 times 2x plus 7 over x minus 9 times x minus 4. The reason we had to simplify that is because if you have a family on the top that's the same as on the bottom, you can cancel them out. So you do have to have, like I said earlier, you want binomials in your answer, unless it's a trinomial that cannot be factored. So if you can factor, you need to factor just to make sure you can't simplify any further. Now we don't have any families that match up or that are the same, so this one is finished. Okay, so on the next one, I'm going to start by putting my binomials in parentheses. The denominator, just write that down. X plus 3 times x plus 4. Cross multiply the numerator, so x minus 5 times x plus 4. Cross multiply the denominator, and there's a minus there. 4 times x plus 3. You got to be careful when there's a minus in the middle and it's a binomial that follows it, but I'll talk about that in a moment. Okay, on the bottom, the denominator is x plus 3 times x plus 4. Multiplying out the numerator, I've got x times x is x squared. These two numbers get added together, so negative 5 plus 1 is a negative 1, and I've got an x. And then you multiply them. Negative 5 times 4 is negative 20. This one gets distributed, negative 4x. And negative 4 times 3 is negative 12. Okay, the denominator is going to stay like it is, x plus 3 times x plus 4. The numerator, I've got an x squared. For my x is a negative 1 and a negative 4 is a negative 5x. And then a negative 20 and a negative 12 is a negative 32. I want the factors of 32 that when I subtract them equal 5. Well, the factors of 32 divided by 1 is 32. 32 divided by 2 is 16. 3 doesn't work. 32 divided by 4 is 8. None of those subtract to give you 5, which means this trinomial cannot be simplified, so that is your answer. Okay, the final one is what I was talking about earlier when you have a minus in front of a binomial. Let me talk about that, because if you're going to get tripped up, it's going to be with that. So anytime you have a negative followed by a binomial, you want to change that to a positive and change all the signs inside. So this is not going to be x minus 4. This is going to be negative x and a positive 4. If you're going to get tripped up on that type of problem, that's probably where it's going to be. Okay, in the denominator, I have x times x minus 8. Cross multiply the numerator, so I've got x times x plus 3. Then you've got a plus sign because you made it a plus sign. And we are going to do negative x plus 4 times x minus 8. Okay, denominator, always just leave it alone. Unless later on, if you can cancel something out, you have to do that, but not yet. Okay, x times x is x squared. X times 3 is 3x. Now this one you can't do that neat little shortcut that I showed you. Negative x times x is negative x squared. 4 times x is 4x. And negative x times negative 8 is a positive 8x. So when you add those together, you get positive 12x. and then multiply the last terms. 4 times negative 8 is a negative 32. So I'm going to come over here. My denominator is going to stay like it is. The numerator, x squared, take away x squared, they cancel out. 15x plus 12x is 15x. And then I've got a negative 32. There's nothing I can factor out of the top, so the numerator. So since you can't factor, that's your answer.